Sorry for the delay. We're adjusting. We have 4 devices in front of us. We're live streaming today across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So please feel free to ask us anything and say hello. We're very happy you guys are here, and we'll be more than happy to answer all your questions.
And first of all, thank you for 1,000 followers on Instagram. We are here also to celebrate that. And many more on TikTok and also on our YouTube channel. So we've been very lucky in having you guys watching our videos that we just post, showing our expertise and trying to make your life easier if you plan to invest in the Portuguese property market or if you plan to move to Portugal. So feel free to ask your questions and we'll try to help you guys answering them as best as we can. So maybe we start with some questions.
Hello there. Wave back. Thank you guys for joining. Wave back.
Hello. For the ones who doesn't follow us yet on YouTube, we post new videos every week. So feel free to follow us there also.
Yes. Our channel is MOL Portugal across different platforms. So please feel free to follow. We have a question. What do you think the future of the Golden Visa is looking like after Antonio Costa announced it might end? Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm not an authority to talk officially for the Prime Minister, so I don't know. In fact, I think that no one knows about it. I would say that while at the Web Summit, Antonio Costa, the Prime Minister, was trying to promote informally the new digital Nomad visa, since he had around him thousands of entrepreneurs and startup companies, and obviously he wants to captivate them and kind of seduce them to come to Portugal and invest in Portugal and eventually even living in Portugal. For that reason, I think he kind of ended up talking too much. That's my feeling. Sorry, Antonio Costa. But it was my feeling at that time. I don't know if they really have plans for ending the Golden Visa eventually. And if they do that, it eventually can be something that has a bigger extent, not only for the Portuguese market, but also for most of the European Union countries also as well. But we never know. Actually, the reality is that we don't know. We don't have any special connections, and even the ones who have, I suppose they don't talk much about it. So I expect that this is not true, although you have plenty of other options to move into Portugal or even invest in Portugal without the need of doing any golden visa. So if that is in your plans, you might consider to just do it straight ahead, immediately, the golden visa, just in case, or eventually consider to study other options for the future move into Portugal.
Yes, I would like to add a little bit also. Knowing Portuguese government and how things change, policies and regulations never change overnight. It's always start with an idea and then discussion, right, back and forth. So if there's a possibility that it might end, it will take some time.
Definitely.
Yes. We have another question. Do you think property prices will decrease in the near future, or do you think it will continue to rise?
Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. When someone asks me that question, I always say that I don't have a crystal ball. So I prefer not to talk about future, so I keep my feet in the present. And what I see in a daily basis is that there's no lack of new people looking into this market, trying to buy properties in Portugal. And I see good properties disappearing very quickly, especially when they are priced right. And what I see is that we struggle a lot to find good deals to our clients. And people might not have this idea and think when they open the Idealist, they see thousands of properties advertised online, they eventually think that it's easy and it's not a big deal to find a good deal or a good property. And
okay, we have another question here.
I believe that for a lot of you guys, it's the first time that you see me wearing glasses.
Okay, are there still properties that apply for Golden Visa near the beach? Yes, there are still areas eligible for Golden Visa in the coastal area of Portugal. If you can go to our website, molportugal.com, under blog, you will find our interactive map. And then there you can clearly see which area is still eligible for the Golden Visa. Another question, what is the minimum investment requirement for D7 visa and what is D7 visa? Okay, D7 visa originated as retirement visa. There is no minimum investment. They were looking for a stable income pattern versus initial a big chunk of money into Portugal, injected into Portugal economy. Later on, it became a digital nomad visa. But right now we have another visa. It's real digital nomad visa. It's called D8 visa. This is very new. So it differentiates from the retirement visa to the digital nomad visa, which both require a stable income. Only Golden Visa requires the big initial investment, but Golden Visa is also more flexible in terms of minimum stay per year. D7 visa, however, you become a tax resident in Portugal because you need to stay here half year plus 1 day. Thank you for your question. That's what I'm getting at. Do you think the D7 will get strict now and there is a digital nomad visa? Yes, we definitely see this pattern because a lot of some people actually get rejected for applying for D7 visa. Usually, to apply for D7 visa, you need a year lease contract, or you already have accommodation. Either you buy it or you have a place to stay to prove. And then you have a minimum salary requirements. You need to have a Portuguese bank account and the Portuguese fiscal number, which is a NIF number. Also, you have to have a letter of intent to describe why you want to be in Portugal. Why do you think you should be living in Portugal?
The D7 visa used to be a big basket where a lot of people would fit. Not only retirees, not only digital nomads, and many others. And now what is going on is that the government is starting to differentiate this basket. So it's just a matter for differentiating the numerous people that is thinking about moving into Portugal. And this is a more specific one. You can move using the new digital nomad visa if you are actually working. If you are not, if you are receiving a passive income without the need of work, then you can go on using the D7. It's easy.
Okay. Is D8 or D7 could result Portugal citizenship in 5 years? I know there is a different route in the D8 branch, which is the short-term digital nomads visa. That I'm not sure it can be extended, it can be renewed. But for the rest, if you are coming for D7 or D8 in a long term, for example, you're applying for a temporary residence and then you renew, yes, it will be the same as any other type of visa. If you're here for 5 years, you can apply for the permanent residence, or you can also apply for the Portugal citizenship. Another question, how many seasons are there in Portugal? Is it cold like Canada?
We have the 4 seasons here with spring, summer, fall, and winter. We are now in winter already, and I can tell you that the temperature right now in Celsius is like at around 12, 13 degrees today, which is a cold day actually, by the way. Usually you would expect like at around 15 degrees Celsius during the day. We are in Lisbon, yes. Yeah. If you go to the north of Portugal, it will be a little bit colder. To the south of Portugal, a little bit warmer than this. But, it's quite comfortable still. It's not comparable at all with any of the cities in Canada at this point.
But it's definitely very pleasant winter in general. You don't have to wear a huge down coat like you carry on the street, super thick.
Which is a pity because most of those coats, they look very nice.
Yes, I know, but we don't need it. The key is only layers. This weekend, we have a big temperature drop, right? Like it's also rainy. So this weekend, we had the fireplace on. Also, it's almost Christmas. It's nice.
It's good for the ambience.
Yes, but not comparable to Canada.
Can we read this?
Yes.
I cannot read.
Is it hard to find renters for investment rental property?
That might be the easiest thing in the world. So in Portugal, there's a big lack of inventory in the market, especially for rentals, also for buying. But definitely the demand is way bigger than the offer. So if you are a landlord, you're living a very lucky moments in Portugal.
Someone says hi here. Thank you, Eric. I hope you get to see Portugal this summer as well. And what sort of income can one expect to make? This highly depends on your property and location. For example, if we talk about short-term rental, you might have lower yield in Lisbon than somewhere like in the middle of nowhere property if the property is very special or has a very good view or has much less competition
If it
around.
has elevator or not,
Exactly.
garage or not, so
Yeah.
that can change substantially the amount of return that you would get. Nevertheless, I would like to stress out that in Portugal, holding a property is something that is not expensive. So you would expect to pay very low taxes while holding a property, and also HOA fees are very low.
Okay, we have a question here. Hi, Martin.
From Mauritius, wow, I love
Nice.
Mauritius. Congratulations. I suppose it's way warmer there than here. Intend on applying for the
But this-
D7 visa soon, just wondering what happens after the 10 years of no tax for foreigners. How much we'll pay after that period?
I believe you're referring to NHR.
NHR.
Yeah, the non-habitual
Tax regime.
tax regime, exactly. After 10 years, it would just be
Back to normal.
Yes, exactly. Combined with your personal yearly income and expenses, and your accountant will be able to tell you the tax rate. I hope that answers your question. A lot of people, when they come to us, they say, we want ocean view property. Do you want to expand? We just have to do a reality check here. Ocean view property, it's very difficult if you don't have a big budget, right? Nowadays in Portugal.
Yes, or at least €500,000 up. But you would stay in a windy place and more humid, more cloudy area also. But the scenic ones right in front of the sea, we're talking about several millions.
Even Riverview, we've been struggling, right? We have a question. Hi, Ian. Is it easy to buy a home for a Portugal citizen who had lived outside of Portugal all his life?
Any person can buy a property in Portugal, no matter what.
It's equal, yeah, it's
It's-
pretty equal.
The constitution will give you all the rights for owning a property,
It's the
and
same.
it protects your property and the ownership of it, regardless if you're a Portuguese or not.
Do you want to talk about your favorite property this year? Now we're in December.
My favorite property of this year, I have many. For instance, we are just closing now one property. I don't know if I can talk about it already. It's for a lovely couple from Malaysia, and we are closing for them a lovely property in the north of Portugal with a river view. It's absolutely beautiful and attractive it will be going for the short-term rental market afterwards, and I believe that it will attract a lot of people to spend some days there. So this property, it's 150 square meters divided into 3 different units, and it has a plot outside. We eventually will do some renovation there and add a pool. We will manage the renovation of that property after. Another one that I love is one that we closed in the coastal area south of Lisbon, close to Comporta. And in this case, we're talking about a villa, close to the sea, in the environment of Comporta, which is, absolutely beautiful. If you guys never been, please go and visit Comporta. It's nature all around. Green Emerald Beach, also cold, but it's really worth to go and spend a few days there, eating some nice grilled fish. Go for a walk if you don't want to enter in the water because it's cold. Although beautiful, it's cold. At least go for a walk in the beach, in the white sandy beach. And that one, due to the location and also to the potential of attractiveness, I would say it's also one of my favorites. We'll be showing it soon.
I would say every property we close for our clients, we have a solid reason and we stand behind every property. One of my favorite would be in Abuja in the city center. We're also in the process of closing because of location. It's not big, it's cozy, but the location it's amazing. It's in the ancient historic wall because the property is meant for investment. So when you're choosing for your own property, we always suggest if it's for investment, you just aim the rentability, your initial investment, the budget for renovation, and later on the potential resale value. That's why we suggest that property for that client.
So we have another question. I'm a British national and I'm planning to move to Portugal. What is the best way now after the Brexit? You would need to get a visa, just like any other non-European citizen, and you can choose the one that suits you better.
Okay, someone asked, where is your company? We work remotely. We have a home office in Lisbon, which is also our home, but we're only here most of the time for the weekends. We spend most of the time actually in our car. That's our office, and our team also work remotely all over the world and Portugal. Everyone in our company is virtual.
I just would like also, since we're talking about that, to thank you to each one of our colleagues that work with us at MOL Portugal. Our team, most of it is international. US citizens, Canadian, British. And Greek. Yeah, from Greece.
Yes.
Sorry, stereotypes.
Where do you get the best chocolate cake in Lisbon? Oh, this is a question to my heart. My favorite chocolate cake is that brand Landau. It's
Landau.
I think they're French now. They have in Alcourt English, the department store.
On the 7th floor.
They also have in the Alex factory. Go try it. You will love it. It's very moist. It's dark chocolate. It's not too sweet. It's perfect.
Don't eat too much.
How are the schools there? I have a 12-year-old in 7th grade, or what American called middle school. Well, we have international school, we have private school, we have public school.
Many choices.
Yeah, and also based on the feedback from our friends and clients, actually a lot of expats who live here now start to send their kids to the Portuguese public school because it's actually very, very good, and they have a lot of support. They have a special program to support the foreign kids to sort of adapt into the culture and also with the Portuguese language.
International schools, they are a bit crowded these days.
Yes, I was going to say as well. You need to look ahead and plan everything ahead for international school because we have a lot of demand for international school. Oh, you're welcome. It's our pleasure. We really love to share what we know. Here's a question. Hi, when fulfilling residency requirement, can we travel to other EU countries? In theory, no. You need to fulfill the residency requirement in Portugal. For example, for D7, they need to stay here half year plus 1 day. So during this time, in theory, you cannot travel.
Mm-hmm. You need to spend 6 months consecutively or 8 months non-consecutively in Portugal. So pay attention to that. Can I buy a T0 or T1 with the budget of 150k within Lisbon? No. Unfortunately, you cannot anymore. It would be possible 10 years ago,
Yes.
Even less.
You're welcome.
Now, unfortunately, I don't have good news for you. It's not possible anymore.
Which city area would you recommend for a family with teenagers to own reasonably priced 3-bedroom home? It really depends. Are you talking about Lisbon or you're talking about outside of Lisbon? We have a few cities that we think are actually a great alternative for Lisbon.
Yes. The most important thing is to understand what are your needs, in fact, right? If you would need to stay in Lisbon, or if you can eventually stay in some
Outside
other
of
city
Lisbon,
that can offer you a very good quality for living.
Outside of Lisbon, okay. I would say Setúbal.
Yes, Setúbal, Braga, even Porto, great city also.
Yeah.
Those three, Definitely Coimbra also.
Yeah, if I think the general rule is if you want to stay out of, like, for example, Lisbon or Porto, then you just go for the second biggest. In there, you would feel much more relaxed, but also you are within a very reasonable distance to have the access to the bigger city, to have cultural activities, especially when you have a teenager. You know, museums, cultural events, things like that. But the price-wise for real estate, it's much more reasonable. What would you say is a healthy budget to purchase a T2 in Lisbon? So for everyone who doesn't know, T2 means two-bedroom apartment. Depends.
We're working with a client precisely at this point that it's trying to do the same, to buy a two-bedroom apartment in Lisbon. He started with a 400,000 euros budget and recently just increased for €500,000. So the healthy budget at this point will be something at around €500,000 for a two-bedroom apartment in Lisbon. I'm not saying that it's not possible to get it with less. You can, if you're open for doing some renovation or if you're open to compromise a bit in terms of location.
So these are all factors that you need to consider. Also, if the building is in a terrible shape or not, it also affects for the selling price as well. Ian, okay, so if you want to stay close to Lisbon, we recommend Setúbal. If you want to stay close to Porto, then Braga. Then also, did you say Coimbra? It's also nice. How much is the fixed income need to get to for the retirement visa? I think you were referring to D7 visa. This is averagely you need to have 8,000 euros income per year.
For the main applicant.
Yes.
If you're married, 50% of this amount for your spouse.
Yes.
And if you have children, 30% more for each children.
Yes. And residency requirement for investor visa, which is 2 weeks a year, need to stay within Portugal. Okay, this is golden visa question. Golden visa actually requires you to stay within 5 years, on average every year 7 days. Yes, you need to stay in Portugal, but actually you don't see it as a something you have to do.
It's a vacation.
You will really enjoy it. Don't worry. 7 days is nothing. Someone asked, what area would you recommend to rent in Lisbon as a single woman? I believe you are asking about safety. Most of the area are pretty safe. Lisbon, it's, how do I say this? Of course, there are better areas and there are not so ideal areas, but I would say the entire Portugal, it's safe in general.
I always say that the most dangerous place in Portugal is the tram 28 because it's so touristic. And the pickpockets, they know that the tourists, they travel with the cameras, with the iPhones, with some cash. So from this idea, you can understand that most of the cities most of the places that you would be going will be pretty safe. You don't need to worry about your belongings or your safety.
Prem, is for 2023, Golden Visa is closed. Is this authentic news? We talked about it at the beginning. It's more or less something our Prime Minister said. So far, there's no
decision at all about that. So far, everything is just like as before. Nothing changed. And we don't know if it eventually will become a reality and they will close the Golden Visa. So far, we know absolutely nothing. And so far, everything is just like as before.
We have a few minutes where we will quickly go through the questions. For the Golden Visa, do I need to speak the language to get the passport? You need to reach A2 level. So A is beginner's level, B is intermediate, and C is advanced. So A2 is
like a 7-year-old kid's proficiency level. So it's really easy to achieve that. And then there are exemptions. If you're older than 65 years old, then you're exempt of doing the language exam. And if your children are under 12 years old, they are also exempt of the language exam.
And someone asked, best area to start a restaurant or bed and breakfast? Husband is a chef. We love to garden too. Oh, nice. Sounds very nice. Depends what kind of food, what is the target, how big the bed and breakfast you want it to be. Do you want to live on site? We have clients like this. So those are the questions we want to ask. what is the initial investment, and based on that, we'll recommend the areas, because even though some area seems like in the village or something, but if you analyze the people who live in the closer range, you will see whether it has potential or not. And Portugal has a lot of small and medium size, and like us, husband and wife shop, right? And it's a small operation. We really love it. As long as you find your niche, I think it's just that's the answer to that. I hope that answers your question, because it's a bit general. But we also need to know the budget and even what kind of food your husband cooks.
We have another question here. Do you guys also work with the new digital nomad visa? Yes, we work. Our work is to help people moving into Portugal, regardless of the kind of visa that they are applying. Either the golden visa or the D7 visa or the new D8 visa, which is this one of the digital nomads. We are buyers agents, and we also help with rentals. So we work exclusively on helping our clients identifying properties in the Portuguese property market for buying or for renting it out. And then we have our own network and partnerships of people that we trust that will help our clients in the areas that we don't cover directly. For instance, a lawyer. We are not lawyers, so we would refer you a lawyer that we trust for working with a client of ours. And this is how we can help you.
Okay, we have someone saying, I live in Madeira and I have a house in Lisbon as well. I was looking property in Madeira for buy. We will actually go to Madeira for work in 1.5 weeks, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Madeira has become very expensive, actually.
It's the rule of the market. The highest the demand and the lowest inventory,
Yes.
the highest the prices will go. And this is very true in most of the municipalities of Portugal, mainland, and also now in Madeira, also in Funchal in special.
I email you but didn't get reply. We reply every email. Please check your spam. Sometimes it ends there. Otherwise, please email us again. We reply every email within 2 business days maximum. That's the policy we insist the most. Check the junk mail or email us again. We will be there. Oh, we have a last question. How often do you do these informational videos? This is the second time we did it. That's why, at the beginning, we were scrambling a little bit to set up all these 4 devices. I think usually we post weekly on YouTube, for example, once a week. We post on Instagram minimum 3 times a week. No, sorry, TikTok. And Instagram we also do. Please follow us. We will announce it, and once a while we will definitely, when we have time, we will organize all this and have a sit down with you guys. But otherwise, please stay tuned to our social media with our YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and we would really love to hear from you guys and comment or anything you want us to cover in our videos. Please leave a message in any of those channels. We will definitely consider to explore the topic.
It really helps us to receive your comments and your ideas also and your questions, because it makes us brainstorm to come up with new videos to
Yes.
help you out better, especially more recently the YouTube. So I would invite you guys to follow us on YouTube.
So thank you guys, and we wish you a great holiday season ahead.
And hope to see you soon.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.